got fluff. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate and this is Ripper Seams. So this is a pretty exciting week for me. Not only is it the 10th episode of Ripper Seams here on YouTube, but I've also hit 1,500 subscribers this week, which is a bit mind-blowing. When I first started this channel, I didn't even think I would get to 1,000 subscribers within my first year. So to have hit where I am today within a couple of months, I'm pretty stoked about that. So a big thank you to everybody who's watched my videos, who have given me a thumbs up, who have left a comment down below, who have gone and pushed that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. I'm having a lot of fun on here and I hope you're enjoying the ride with me as well. So last week I did put a call out at the end of my video that I would like you to do two things. Now I put it at the end and some of you might have turned off by the time I get there, so I'll put it in the top this time. So the first thing is, if you have any questions, any burning questions you might have about wanting to know about Ripper Seams, if you've got some curious thoughts about why I am living in the UK or my thought processes about sewing or anything like that, then please do and go and put those questions down in the comments box below. I am thinking of doing a Q&A session now that we're 10 videos in, and you can learn a little bit more about me and my sewing journey. So put those comments down, and the second thing I want you to do is also let me know what type of videos you would like to see when it comes to sewing. I'm very much up for having a bit of fun, so let's get a list going and see if I can cover some of those things off for you, because ultimately I want to make videos that you enjoy and ones that I enjoy making as well. I'm a bit of a creative person, if you haven't gathered already, so yeah, let's have some fun together. So let's have a chat about what we're wearing this week. So I'm wearing the Butterick 6705, which I talked about in my video last week. As you can see, it is all wearable, and I will get onto that one a bit later on this video. And today Barbara is draped. This is purely 3 meters of fabric, which I have just thrown over Barbara and pinned very strategically on her. So this is a beautiful Lady McElroy print from Beyond the Pink Door that I picked up, and it is a viscose linen. So it's got some really nice flowy drape to it, but kind of still quite a bit of structure. So this is what I've done to Barbara. Absolutely, I think this print is stunning. This orange, kind of burnt orange background with these bright blue flowers, the purple highlights in there, and then of course you've got these lovely white lilies and these super cheeky monkeys. I mean, like, these monkeys are so adorable. They look like they're going to go and steal a chip off your plate or something. So I just found this fabric stunning, but yet a little bit fun and sneaky. So I have draped this on Barbara intentionally so I could see where this print actually lands, how it looks when it's draped, because I am thinking of making the Zadie jumpsuit out of this one, because I know it's a very popular pattern, but I do think it is something that would suit me. I think it would suit my body shape, particularly because you get a nice tie-in at the waist, as well as being that nice airy style for summer as well. So this is what I'm planning to do. I've got the 3 meters here, which will cover that off very nicely. So that is a make. Hopefully by the end of June I will have cut up and made and sewn up and ready to share. So the only other thing I've purchased this week are some patterns from McCall's, because I do have 50% off at the moment. I have picked up another copy of the M7969 here because I've cut into my original one. I cut the sizing out way too large, so I've got a new copy to use, and I will just trace that one out going forward in a much smaller size. So I probably will get around to making this probably in a few months' time, but I just wanted to make sure I had another copy of that pattern there. I have also picked up M7116. I thought this would be a really good versatile everyday quick sew up dress pattern, where it could be just all these different styles here. It can be very versatile. Got some with some sleeves, some cap sleeves, some no sleeves, some peasant blouses, and I think this would just be a bit fun and also good for stash busting when you've got those smaller amount of fabrics where you can make up something cute but efficient in these. I'm also really interested in view B here because it does actually have an overlay to it, so I would like to try this as a skills builder to try and work with some georgette and maybe get that layering effect to see how that works. This is the reason why I've got that one, basically for the versatility of the dresses, but also something a bit tricky here which I want to try on something simple but not too complex. And finally, I've picked up McCall's M8252, which is this fun ensemble here. Just really love the look of this. I think this will be really good for some holidays, just something a bit different to sew. There's a couple of different lengths here. I actually quite like the long length with a split at the front, but this shorter one is also calling to me as well. I love the kind of coordinate style for this with the little connector in the middle. I also think it's going to be good for my pear body shape as well, because it is quite an A-line skirt that flares out, and I also have a smaller top, so you can make the top quite easily in a smaller size and something bigger down the bottom. Now I have seen a fabulous version of this made up by Gina Seams, so this was my inspiration for getting this pattern, and I think this will be a really fun make going forward. You know what, I have this little vision in my head of doing this in a sequin fabric. I don't know. Might be something in the future. I'm not planning on making this in a hurry. I'm inspired. I want to see what I can do with this. I think I could have a lot of fun with this dress. So yeah, watch this space. Now I do have some works in progress at the moment. The first one and the main one that I'm focusing on is the Claire pant by Style Arc, which I'll pop in here. Like I mentioned in a few videos ago, I'm a little bit scared of making pants. It's a bit of an irrational fear because I have successfully made some butterfly pajama pants, which were quite tight fitting, and they fit me perfectly. But I think there's some sort of thing in my brain where I'm going, pajama pants, they're easygoing, you're allowed to stuff those up, they're more casual, but the Claire pant is not too different for that. It does have an elasticated waist, it's a wider leg pant, so I don't know what the fear is. Anyway, I'm fully committing into going and making the Claire pant by Style Arc, and I'm making it in this lovely sand washed cupro, which I got from Rainbow Fabrics, and it's this lovely beige color. So it's cut up downstairs. I think this is quite stable. Yeah, I'm excited to see how these turn out. So watch this space. In the next couple of videos, I will hopefully have those finished, and I'll definitely have them up on Instagram at some stage as well. So that's my main work in progress. I also have the Southern Social this coming weekend, so I need a project to take along to that. I don't think the pants are the right thing to take because I might be inclined to want to try those on a few times, and probably not good to do in a social setting. So I'm just trying to find something a little bit more casual to sew up, particularly because of the hope dress last time, because I was going like this. I also managed to do a few mistakes, which which end up being fine, but I just want to maybe have a little bit more simpler, something a little bit easygoing rather than trying something complicated. So my options are, I'm thinking it's about time that I get around to making Mr. Ripper Seams another shirt. So I would like to try the Tony shirt. So I will get his measurements, not Tony's measurement, my husband's measurements this week, and cut out the sizing for this. And I have a few different fabric options for this one. Excited to give this a try. So I have that one to maybe take with me, but I also have the Pattern Emporium swing short, because I have been caught out in some sunny weather that we've had over the last few days and realized I don't have many shorts. So I have got these ones here from Pattern Emporium. I'll put them up here so you can see. There is like a really nice tailored version, 2 different lengths, or a more casual version, again 2 different lengths. So I'm excited to try a Pattern Emporium pattern, give that a shot, and also get some shorts into my wardrobe, because not only do I need pants, I need shorts, I need all sorts of kind of bottoms going on, and I think this is going to be a really flexible option for me. I am also considering making some more foxy boxies because I love how that pattern turned out. It's a really flattering style. They're my kind of 2-3 options I have this coming weekend. I'll see, there might be something else that kind of pops into my head, because I do have a very fluid brain when it comes to sewing. I have rough ideas about what I want to do next, but I can swing one way or the next depending what I really want to do or what's inspiring me at the time. So who knows, I might make something completely different. And that brings us right back to this lovely dress that I'm wearing, which is the Butterick 6705, which I started talking about in my video last week, but as you can see, it is now finished. I'm very happy with how it turned out, but man, it was certainly a challenge to get it to this point. So let's unpack that now, shall we? So here is the pattern here. I'll pop a picture here so you can see the details a bit more, and then I'll put some videos up of me wearing it so you can see it full length, as well as a bit of a backyard catwalk later on, and we'll give this some ratings, shall we? Yep, Butterick 675. I'm going to put my glasses on because I can't see without them. Getting old. So this is a big 4 pattern, obviously, and it is a lovely kind of a retro kind of look, kind of like a 40s look. It is a empire kind of drop from the bust right the way down through with a bit of flare as you go down the hips, and it's got a lovely slit detail around the neck. But there's 3 different options when it comes to the views. You have a knee length option with the views A and B, a slightly longer for view C, and there's also 3 different sleeve options as well, and so a bit of ruffle at the bottom too. If you like a bit of ruffle, go for that. I've ended up going for view A, which is the more simple style skirt, but I have done the simpler elasticated cuffs because this view A has a bit of a ruffle. I tend to find that gets kind of in the way when you're kind of having coffee or food. They do have this really nice kind of swooshy sleeve. I don't know, is that a bell sleeve? What do you call that? Let me know in the comments what type of sleeve this version is here. But yeah, that's what I've made. I've made a view A with the B elasticated cuffs there. So the size range for this pattern is a size 6 through to a size 22, and I've ended up grading across multiple sizes, and we'll go into that shortly. Now this is meant to be made for double georgette, crepe, chalet and rayon, and obviously you've got different options there. I've ended up making this out of 2.5 meters of fabric, and I've made it in this lovely kind of chocolate brown viscose, which I picked up from Sew Me Sunshine. The only notions you need for this is a zip down the back, which is an invisible zipper. You also need some elastic if you're doing the cuff versions, and there's also a need for some hook and eyes to put at the top of the zip. You can also have the option to put a one here. Kind of didn't do that option and decided to just kind of tack those to the collar pieces together. There is this kind of split at the neck, which, having in hindsight now that I've put those tacks in, I might actually take that out and put the hook and eye, because you can't really see that unless you actually do move. It's kind of a bit redundant without having a bit of a gap there, which I think the hook and eye might actually allow. Now, it does actually mention that this is an easy pattern to follow, and for the most part I would say yes, it is actually. It is quite a simple construction. There's no interfacing on this. There is a little bit of some bias binding that you do around the neckline. There's a little bit of gathering, but overall the instructions are quite good for this one. There is only one little hiccup I had with it, and it was actually where they tell you to sew something where you, in hindsight, you probably should have basted it, because you then had to, because it ended up being visible and you're having to unpick it. Overall, that was the only issue that I had with this pattern, which isn't the biggest error, but was just a little bit annoying at the time. Overall, the pattern's quite good. The main gripe I have about this pattern is all about this sizing, and I went into this in my video last week. Here is a video of the sizing issue, and as you can see where the zip comes in, I felt when I was making this it was coming in too large. So let's talk about the sizing I decided to do. So back with the glasses. So my measurements overall are a 37.5 bust, a 32 waist and 44 hips. I'm also 5'3". So based on the measurements that they've got on the pattern here, I would fall into a size 16 bust, a size 18 waist and a size 22 hip. And it is the sizing that I applied for this pattern that ended up causing a lot of frustration for me. Overall, I actually did the right thing by doing that grading, but there is one thing that I should have done and didn't do, and it's mainly because of my inexperience. Now, I am aware that you should always check your finished garment measurements to make sure that this garment is going to fit the way that you think you should, and just adjust the sizing accordingly depending on the overall ease of the garment. So the finished garment measurements should take into account your body measurements, the wearing ease, which is the minimum amount of ease that you need, and then obviously the design is how much is this meant to flow or be oversized to a certain extent, and that's how much your finished garment should be. It doesn't help when patterns like this one mentioned in the finished garment measurements the back length from base of neck, and that's it. They don't tell you anything about the bust measurements, nothing about the waist or the hips. So for someone coming in relatively new to, either brand new to this or just again never encountered, where do you find the finished garment measurements if they're not listed here, it was a bit of a head scratching moment. I'm at the point where past me would have made this dress and gone, you know what, it's oversized. It's obviously me, I've made a problem, I'm not very good at sewing, and would have gone around and been disappointed by making up the dress as it was based on the sizing that I've taken from over here on the body measurements. Particularly because this dress says it is a close fitting dress. So you would have thought, and this is what I kind of applied, because it is a close fitting dress, even though that there are no finished garment measurements, they should really allow this to be a close fitting dress based off the measurements I've chosen. Oh no, no, no. So thank you everybody who left me a comment on my last video on where I can find the garment ease if it's not included on the pattern. It kind of led me down a rabbit hole, and I know a lot more now about where to find that and about pattern ease in general. I decided to put on my little detective's cap on and have a really good deep dive into what is pattern ease, what is the bare minimum that you actually need to be able to have a garment that fits you well, and then how to kind of really interpret the kind of design ease so you still kind of get the look you want, but you can kind of tailor it to that. Past me would have totally given up, but I'm current me and I want to know these things so that future me is going to say, yes girl, you've managed to figure that out, and everything I make is fitting me so much better from the get-go. Few adjustments here and there, but I'm so glad that you did this research. So here I am sharing my knowledge for those who may not know or just need a refresher, because I actually learned about the pattern ease and where to find it very early on in my sewing journey and I totally forgot about it. I'm going to link a video down below which I watched very, very early on and completely forgot about and revisited it again over the last few days. It fully explains how to pick your size and how to understand some of the breadcrumbs and the information that's kind of hidden within a big four pattern in particular. And it really, really helped me a lot to understand what I needed to fix the oversized nature of this dress and what I might need to do going forward on any other pattern that I get from these companies. So first of all, I wanted to know what was the bare minimum ease, what was the wearing ease that you needed to be able to move in your clothes without kind of busting it out and being like the Hulk. What I found out from Love Notion's website was you need a minimum of 2 inches at the bust. That's to allow for all sorts of movements like this. And then you need a 1 inch at the waist so you get a bit of movement back and forth. And then you also need 1.5 at the hip so you can do your strides and splits. Well, maybe not splits, but you know, 1.5 at the hip so you can actually walk in them. They're your bare minimums. 2, 1 and 1.5. Straight away, that information was really, really valuable to know. Your body measurements plus the wearing ease is instantly the bare minimum that you need to have. And then you can start playing with this design ease. Now, where do you find the design ease on a pattern when it's not listed on the back? It's on the front of your pattern. For those who don't know, here is the front piece, the front panel of my dress here. This is the bit that goes here. And right at the bust marking, there is a whole bunch of sizing, and this is actually the finished garment sizes. So what I did is I wrote these down on a little list because I wanted to compare it to my sizing that I actually picked. Likewise here, excuse this piece, I've butchered it a bit. Here is the markings for my waist measurement, and underneath here is also my hip measurement. Another thing I had to do with this, which actually went quite well, is I also shortened this dress by 1.25 inches as well, and that's my cut line that I've put in there. So I took all that information and I made huge amounts of notes here to really understand where I needed to fix the issues that were going on with my dress. Now, I kind of did this information, but I instinctively decided that I just wanted to take 1.5 inches off the dress. I had pinned it on Barbara. I could see that's what I needed to take out. I'd done my research. I found out the best way to take that extra ease out was actually either side of the zip. So I just went in, cut off 1.5 inches, finished off the dress there and zipped it up, and it fitted beautifully. Here is a video of me doing that. But I did come back and do the maths to see whether that was the right thing to do or not. As for the ease on this dress, now I made a size 16 for the bust. The finished garment size for this dress at the bust is 41.5 inches. This is a close fitting dress. I'm a B cup. These dresses, as far as I'm aware, are designed for a B cup. So for there to be 4 inches of ease around the bust, I just think it was a little bit too much. For the waist, again, I said I'm a size 32 waist, and I graded it out to a size 18. The finished garment size for this is 40.5 inches, which is huge. That is 8.5 inches more than my waist size. And again, this is a close fitting garment. It's skimming down the body, particularly in that waist area. It ain't skimming at 8.5 inches. That's where I could really start seeing the problem coming in. So for the hips, like I mentioned, I'm a size 44. And for the finished garment size, it's actually 54.5 inches, which is 10.5 inches difference. Now, there is a bit of a swish factor. There is meant to be a bit of flow to that, but ultimately, I still think that definitely around the waist and probably from going from the bust down to the waist down to the hips, this was just way too big for a figure hugging garment. So here is the finished dress, and I'm very, very happy with how it ended up. I really like this little detail at the neckline with a little split there, and it's got an invisible zip, which I think I did pretty good because look, you can't see it, it's invisible. Cuffs were really, really easy and just how I wanted them, quite simple but effective, and the length is just above the knee, which is exactly what I wanted, and I've done a blind hem on there, which is my favorite way to do a hem. I really like how this skims over the body at the top and flares out over the hips. Overall, a very, very cute dress, and I'm very happy with it. And it's going to get lots of wear. So let's give this dress some rating, shall we? Starting with brain happiness. Now, I'm actually going to give it 4 happy brains here because the pattern itself was actually quite straightforward. It is what it says on the tin, an easy pattern. There's a little bit of gathering to do around the bust line, around the neckline. There's some bias binding that you need to put around the neck, and there's an invisible zip that you have to put in. So overall, it's pretty straightforward. I didn't have to think too much much about the actual construction of this dress. So I'm pretty happy giving it 4 out of 5 when it comes to brain happiness. And then we come to the sizing. I'm going to give this a 2. Based off the fact that they do not give you garment measurements. They went and were sneaky and hid it inside on the pattern, and even then there was a huge amount of ease in there, which was unnecessary given the style of dress this was. So I'm going to give this a 2 in the fit sizing category. And finally, let's give this an overall lovableness score. Thought long and hard about this one, and I would like to give it a 3.5 because I couldn't have the heart to kind of cut an otter in half. I'm going to give it a 4 because ultimately the dress came out really, really nicely. It came out exactly how I had in my head. The only drawbacks was obviously the challenge I had with the sizing, and it would have been great if I had made this in the correct size in the first place. It was a really good learning opportunity for me. I learned so much to be able to carry forward in my future makes. But the other thing about it is the actual fabric choice. I really love this fabric, but I just think it's a little bit busy for this particular dress without showing a bit more of a neckline or a shorter sleeve. I just think this fabric is a bit too ditzy print. I would have loved to see this in a slightly larger print overall. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 otters in regards to lovableness. In my head, I actually thought this fabric would be good as an all year kind of make, but I think the fabric color is definitely leaning more towards autumn winter. So I might just keep this kind of in the wardrobe ready for those months. Am I going to make this dress again? I'm intrigued. It was an easy make. I could actually turn this one around in a day. I'd love to make it in a size 14. So yes, I will make this again. I'm going to make it in a slightly larger print fabric, maybe something a bit more colorful. Make that in a size 14, potentially grading out to the 16. That is my review of this particular dress. I'm very glad I've made it. It was a really fun challenge. Another skills builder, shall we say. I think past me would have definitely made this dress and gone, right, it's me, I'm the problem. Clearly I'm not a good sewist, but it was a really good eye-opener for me to say, look, any issues I've had with sewing patterns before is actually maybe something to do with the pattern itself. And I also know now that future me is going to be very, very happy that current me made the effort to go and fix it and learn about how I can make those adjustments and successfully execute that. So I'm pretty pleased. I've got a really nice dress out of it. I really hope this information was helpful for you if you're thinking about making this dress going forward. And here we are at the end of the video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It is always a pleasure having you here. Can't believe we've made it to episode 10. Can't believe I'm still doing YouTube. This is just crazy to me, but I'm really, really having fun. So big, massive heart to everybody who is supporting my channel either by subscribing or leaving a comment, giving me a thumbs up. So go ahead and do all those things. If you would like to subscribe and you haven't, all you have to do is click on that subscribe button, and you can also click on that notification bell just to make sure you don't miss out on any of my future videos. If you enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up on there. It helps me know that I'm doing a good job and that I should keep making more videos for you. And finally, please leave your comments down below. Have you made Butterick 6705? I would love to know if that has turned out for you. What alterations did you have to make? Of course, don't forget to leave your questions for me down below so I can start collating a list for my Q&A episode. And also let me know what videos you would like to see from me going forward. I'll make a list of those. With that, I wish you a wonderful week of sewing, and I'll see you in the next video.